Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to a new video. So we got the STI out today. It's fairly warm. It's in the lower 50s, upper 40s, and I figure it's only right to take it for a little spin. It's been a while. I do need to clean it up. I'm probably going to do it over the weekend, over the holiday. I got some time off and everything, so I'm going to get the car cleaned up. But what I actually want to go over in this video is how many miles per gallon do I get with this car. I've done a video on this a few years ago. The car was just, I think it was just stage 1 or stage 1 plus at the time. Didn't have many modifications in terms of performance and everything. And now that this car is 413 horsepower, I have a lot done to it in terms of performance stuff. I get questions all the time about, what the gas mileage is like. I'm interested in doing that, but I don't want to sacrifice too much. So that is what we're going to go over in this video. 413 horsepower, 358 foot-pounds of torque, 18 PSI. Going to give you all the information as to what is done to this car in terms of performance. Then you guys can decide if you want to go that far, if you think the gas mileage on the car like this with this kind of performance is worth it, and then you can make the decision for yourself. So let's get into it. Let's start going over all the details. Now, as I mentioned, this car is sitting at 413 horsepower, 358 foot-pounds of torque at 18 PSI. I run it on Shell 93 pump. It's not on E85 or anything like that. And that is what I 100% of the time run the car at. Now, in terms of modifications, I'll go over them very quickly. Basically, I'm running all of the Cobb fuel system. So an AEM 340 fuel pump, Cobb fuel pressure regulator, Cobb rails, Cobb lines, as well as the Cobb 1050X injectors. Grimspeed top mount intercooler, running the Cobb Redline carbon fiber intake, Curly equal length headers, Grimspeed catted downpipe, PLM turbo uppipe with the dump tube, as well as a Tile 44mm wastegate, as well as a ETS Extreme catback. Few other things here and there, but that is a majority of them in terms of the overall performance, and that is what the car is sitting at currently. Now, before I got all this done, as I mentioned, I was running stage 1 plus from Bren Tuning, and it was great. I think I was getting around 19 or 20 miles per gallon around town, and then on longer trips I was getting in the upper 20s, which is not that bad at all. Now, obviously running bigger injectors, bigger fuel lines and all that stuff, it's going to suffer a little bit. And not to mention, when I do drive this car, it is, for fun. It is not my daily driver. So I'm going out, I'm driving the car aggressively. I'm not just kind of scooting around town or anything like that. So take that into consideration. But overall, it really was not that big of a difference in terms of gas mileage. Now, we'll get in the car and I'll show you the MFD, the multifunctional display, which shows the gas mileage and everything. I reset it every single time when I get gas, so it's a good representation as to what this car gets, per tank. Overall, I get roughly 230 to 250 miles per tank, which is exactly what I was getting prior to all this power mods that I did. So it's really not that bad. On longer trips, I can easily get over 300 miles per the tank. So it really doesn't suffer. It's a pretty small tank overall. I think it's like 15 or 14 gallons. So it's relatively pretty common. It's nothing too small or too large or anything like that. My F-150, the tank is massive. It's over 30 gallons, so it's pretty expensive to fill. This is not that bad currently with gas prices. It's around 50 or 60 bucks to fill a 93 Shell. So not too bad. But let's hop in the car. Let's check out the gas mileage based on this current tank of gas, and I'll show you what we're looking at. All right, so we are sitting in the car. So what I actually want to do is show you the multifunctional display up here. This is the gauge setting that I usually keep it on, just because it's information that I like to see when I am driving the car. But if we go down a couple different screens, you get to this one. This one actually shows you, how many miles you get per tank. So you can customize this any way you want, but this is what I have. So right now, my average A trip, I reset that every single time I get gas. I'm getting 15.9 miles per gallon. Now, keep in mind, like I said, I do drive this car aggressively when I am driving it, since, it's not my daily driver and I'm not just kind of cruising around, kind of getting on the car and having some fun. So it does drop a little bit. However, when I am driving it more often in the summertime and kind of just cruising around a little bit more, I do get closer to 18. Usually it's around 17, 18 around town. So it's really not that bad. And honestly, a stock STI, you're probably going to see around the same. You'll probably see anywhere from 17 to 18, possibly 19, depending on how you drive. I drive the car in Sport Sharp all the time, which is full boost and everything. So if you really wanted to kind of feather that a little bit and get a little bit more, you can easily put it into intelligent mode if you are stock and, get a little bit better gas mileage. Now, if you guys have been following me, I did kind of a road trip out to Connecticut for Wicked Big Meat this past summer. And I drove the car 4 hours there, 4 hours back. So I was able to get a good idea of just what kind of gas mileage this STI gets with the current power. And I think I have a picture of it. If I do, I'll put it up. Actually, I think I might have a video clip. I'll put it up here so you guys can see it. I was getting 26 miles a gallon, you know, driving very conservatively because it was all highway and everything. So 413 horsepower with all these power modifications and fuel mods and everything. Pretty darn good. I mean, granted, the EJ motor is a very, very old motor. Obviously, more modern engines and everything, a little bit more resourceful, a little bit better on gas mileage. But for how modified this car is with all the, you know, fueling upgraded and all that, and also kind of how old the EJ motor is, pretty good. I'm pretty darn impressed with that. I know a lot of cars that are, you know, running around the same power in different vehicles and they get like 10 miles a gallon. So it's still pretty decent. I would have no problem daily driving this car every single day if I had to, which I did at one point. So if anybody's hesitant to go for more power and kind of upgrade all the fueling in an STI, it's really not that bad. Obviously, if you're driving, you know, hundreds and hundreds of miles a month, you may see the effects of it. But overall, if you drive conservatively, if you're not getting on the car like crazy and you're getting good gas, you know, Shell 93, you're going to get some pretty decent gas mileage. So don't be afraid to go for more power if you're hesitant based on the gas mileage, because honestly, it's really not that bad. So I hope that offered some insight as to what kind of gas mileage this car gets, you know, how modified it is and everything in the current power level. I get asked this question very, very often because I know a lot of people are interested in my power setup, but at the same time, it is their daily driver and they're very, very conscious about their gas mileage and they don't want it to suffer and you know, make them regret doing all these things. So I hope this offers some insight. I hope it gave you a little bit better idea as to what kind of gas mileage this car gets with all the power and all the mods and everything. Overall, it's never bothered me whatsoever because relatively it stayed pretty similar as to what it was completely stock. It never really changed that much. So granted, if, you know, I was getting 9 miles a gallon, that was something that would definitely notice, but 1 or 2 miles per gallon is not a big difference. And like I mentioned, on longer trips, I was getting into the mid-20s, no problem. But I hope that cleared everything up. I hope that answered your questions. But let's go ahead. Let's go for a little drive. Let's enjoy this car on this beautiful December day. All right, guys, I'm gonna wrap the video up here. I'm gonna head in the gym, get a workout in. Sorry there really wasn't that much driving footage. I was just enjoying the car and I kind of forgot to film. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope it gave you a little bit more clarity as to what kind of gas mileage you get on a modified STI. I get this question very, very often, so I figured the video would help some people and give a good idea as to what kind of gas mileage you may get. But yeah, this car is a lot of fun. Just the simplicity of it currently, I'm enjoying it immensely. And the more and more I think about the idea in my last video, if you haven't, go check it out in the top right corner. It's sounding better and better, and we'll see what happens. But that's going to be it for this one. I hope everybody has a very Merry Christmas. Enjoy your holiday, whatever you do celebrate. Any questions at all, be sure to ask them below. I will catch you guys next week. In the meantime, keep it clean, keep it simple, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.